to invest in some stocks. Stocks is good to invest. Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. Don't be sick on me.
It was really.
Yeah, I gotta wear this jumper for at least another 7 or 8 days.
He's working. He's joining.
Yeah. So we're going to be teaching children this weekend on how to invest and the difference between spending money and investing money. And we're also going to be talking about the difference between working hard and working smart, amongst many other things as well. That is called the WEC event. It is WEC, which stands for Wellbeing and Education Center. That's what we are building as a charity for all the children to help them get educated efficiently. Yeah, so whether it's a big dollars or whether it's the pounds or the euros, or whether it's Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency or NFTs or anything like that, I think it's good to get involved, whether you are young or whether you are old, whatever that means. So this week on Money Monday, which could be the last Money Monday, we are looking for a rebrand. So I'll be looking for some market research by the time we get a few people on here. But this Money Monday, we have awesome John and Charlotte who are going to be talking about how the pandemic changed our future. I had to read it because I forgot what I wrote. Yeah, so how did it change your future? I mean, first of all, just introduce yourselves. Like, what was... Yeah, I mean, just introduce yourselves. Who are you? What's your company? And let's start sharing the love.
Yeah, so I'm John Mackin. This is Charlotte Jones, and we've got a company together called Mindful Properties, property investment company. We do all things HMO conversion and other property developments and that sort of thing. I mean the pandemic really did change our future. I think mainly because it broke our pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So what pattern were you in before? You know, because like, let's share like where you were before. And by the way, anybody watching this, just comment, let me know where you're watching it in the world. That's always very useful. And if there's any questions you want to ask, make sure you do that. But also hit the share button as well. Yeah, you guys got this as well. You're going to bang that share out. So what was the pattern that you were in before?
So the pattern that we were in before, we were both working very long hours. John was in his construction company. I was working in the corporate world, in like fashion, kind of buying. We were just both working very long hours. We didn't really have much kind of balance, or we didn't, I guess, kind of see each other too much in the end, did we? We just had kind of like short evenings together. And I think it was at a point where it was kind of out of alignment with who we were and who we wanted to be. So that was the pattern that we were in before.
And I think we, like, you know, probably many people, but I don't know, can only really talk from our experience, but we were very much just accepting that as the way of life. It was all we kind of knew, and it seemed that everyone was doing it.
So put it in the comments. Like, I want to know, like, what is people's original thought of how you're supposed to live life? Yeah. So you're just saying you were stuck in the kind of life of just going to work, not really being in alignment with who you were, right?
Yeah.
So like, how did that come about that was what you're supposed to be doing?
Yeah, I guess it's from my perspective anyway, it's what I seen happening everywhere that I looked, really. It was happening all around me, the people I knew. And everywhere we looked, everyone seemed to be doing this same kind of process of working very hard, working long hours, and with the aim of achieving something. But I think for me, I lost what it was that I was trying to achieve. I lost the direction of where I was going and why I was doing it in the first place.
And what was it like to admit that? Because I'm sure that you wouldn't have changed anything if you didn't admit that that's what was going on.
Yeah.
I think for me, I kind of knew it for a very long time, and that I wanted to do something kind of bigger and something that I think gave me a lot more fulfillment and meaning. But yeah, I think I didn't really put any kind of like urgency on it. I just kind of, I think, yeah, accepted it and was kind of thinking, yeah, one day kind of something will change, until I realized it was actually during the pandemic, I think having that kind of time off and like more time together to think about us and our future and what we want to achieve, and then going back into it, it was kind of like, not like a shock, but like, yeah, we just realized that I had to change.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's when we probably really admitted it.
Yeah.
Was as the sort of end of 2020 started to, everything felt like it was coming back online, and things started going for us back to kind of normal, if you like, or what it was pre-March 2020. That's, I think, the point for me, and maybe you too, where we actually started to realize, okay, this isn't what we want. So it was really around October time that we started to properly, you know, admit it to ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so like I sometimes feel that might be the most difficult thing. So like, what was the process that you went through to like admit that that's what it is?
I think that there was a long period of us, like from about March or April time, where like my business stopped operating for about 3-4 months, I think it was, completely. And for me, it was the first time that had happened in a long time, well, ever actually, that nothing was happening within the business, and you weren't working in the office. And I think it was that point, or them couple of months, where really that we started like exploring new places. We'd actually just moved house December 2019, so we'd been here a couple of months, and then we hadn't really explored the place. And since March, kind of April time, when things started to shut down, we really started exploring, finding sort of very green, open spaces full of nature. And I think it was at that point we started having conversations about deciding what is it that we want in the future. Not really knowing what timescale that meant, but we knew it was in the future.
Yeah.
So what you say? So yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, around that point as well, we just started doing a lot more, like all the extra kind of free time we had, we just started doing loads more kind of development work, self-development work, sorry. And yeah, I felt like we were just constantly doing that, and constantly thinking we want to use this like period to like grow and not rest, and, you know, use it as time off, but use it as a time to really kind of like grow and to work on ourselves. So yeah, that was another moment.
Yeah, good. We've just had a comment here from Mike. The pandemic has given us all the opportunity to step off the roundabout, reassess and think, what do I really want? Yeah, good point. So like, what was that then process like of, hey, you know, I was not having any time to do any of this before because of like commuting, maybe spend all my time there, commuting back and all of that stuff, to like, I'm assuming it's something along the lines of, well, now I've tasted this bit of kind of almost freedom or like difference in routine, I want a bit more of it. Did you think it was possible?
So I think before the opportunity came of that time, I didn't realize that it was what I wanted or needed. But yeah, definitely once it got to that point of us tasting it and having that, it just reset the balance, like in the complete opposite, in favor of the complete opposite, where it was all kind of work, and then it was the complete opposite, all kind of non-work, if you like, because everything was shut down. But yeah, I think for me anyway, once I had the taste of it, then that's the feeling that came around sort of October, November time, when stuff started coming back to normal in like my opinion, and it started to feel very uncomfortable.
Is that in 2020?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, what was uncomfortable about it, and what did you do?
I would say what started was us thinking back to the time that we had during the sort of time off, if you like, or the downtime, and the conversations we were having, and realizing that actually we were talking about them and it felt like we were getting closer. And then the uncomfortable nature, I think, was for me that it felt like that coming back to normal was actually taking me away from them conversations and them visions that we had during summer 2020.
Yeah, completely taking us away from it, and just started to feel trapped. Yeah. Basically.
So what did you do then?
So I think following on from like all the like self-development work and stuff we were doing, we were always looking out for, you know, inspirational content stuff to watch, and then that's where we came across you on Masters of Wealth. I think that was what it was called by
Success Resources, Tony Robbins. We were just filling our like spare time with all of this stuff, like this, what felt like very progressive information that we were consuming. And also it was that time that we really started contributing as well, because we had seen sort of some of the impacts of what the pandemic had on people, and we watched a documentary, actually. It was on BBC, the Marcus Rashford one. And it just kind of highlighted to us that, like, in my mind at the time, it was, you know, it just made me realize that people kind of very much closer to us than I previously thought may be struggling through this pandemic with, it was specifically around food and, you know, people having access to food. And I think that is a big part to play in what then led to us kind of consuming more information about personal development, and then watching the Masters of Wealth whole day. Whole day
around that point as well, it just made us think like we have to do something to like make a better impact and make a change. And
Did you know the impact then what you wanted to make?
Sorry,
did you know the impact then that you wanted to make?
No, I think we knew we wanted to do something, and we wanted to do more than just, you know, donate, you know, money, but we wanted to give more of our time and our energy to it as well. But we didn't know exactly what at that point, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think consciously.
We knew it was big, but
yeah, deep down we knew something big was coming for us and for everyone, you know, that wanted it. But I don't think consciously we knew that by sort of just setting up a direct debit to make financial contributions to a charity, what that was then going to lead us to be honest.
So did that like feeling of something big's going to happen, did that spur you on?
Yeah,
definitely.
I remember us having conversations at the time thinking this feels really good, but at the same time it already feels like not enough. Like it already feels like we can be doing more.
Yeah.
And we kept going back to, pardon?
The money contribution.
Yeah.
So what at that point, like, what did you want to, like, what was going through your mind? Like, because, you know, like what we want to do on Money Mondays here is like just give people an inspiration to like get started, do something, follow what it is that they love, you know, have the courage to follow a dream or follow a purpose, even if you don't know exactly what it is 100%. So like, what was the switch from like, well, you know, this corporate world, it feels like uncomfortable, and now I want to follow something, I want to do something big. Like, how did you go through that journey to then start driving forward?
I think that came around December leading into January. I think early January was when we got to the point where we actually made the conscious kind of switch, and it was us just thinking we wanted more time, basically. And it was a combination of more time and to be able to do something more with our contribution. And we were consuming more information come January about like personal development and that sort of thing. And I had started thinking that property was an avenue that I wanted to go down. At the time, we weren't discussing it together necessarily, but I definitely was thinking that was something that I wanted to do that would potentially give me more time as a kind of business owner. That was the way my mind was thinking at the time, compared to what I was doing back then.
Yeah,
much more hands-on.
Yeah. So then how did you find like more clarity and more direction? Or what happened?
I think it was just from making the decision to like take the leap of faith and just just like make the step forward, take the first step. That I think that's, and then it became, I think, clearer with every kind of step that we took. But yeah.
So I done the real life virtual event back in January 2021. This was now, and I went into that thinking my mindset at the time, the current mindset was thinking I want to learn more about property, and you know, it might just give me some more knowledge. That happened on I think it was like the 3rd Friday of January 2021 until the Sunday. And then Monday morning or Monday afternoon, I had basically made the decision that I wanted to change what I was doing completely from my current business to go and do property full time. And you felt the vibe from Charlotte. Didn't do that event, but she was sat the other end of the table because you were working from home at the time. So I had headphones on, but
just really jealous, to be honest. I really wanted to be a part of it. And yeah, I think even from that moment, even though I hadn't done the training, I think we decided that we were just going to go for it.
Yeah. And then a couple of months, well, no, it was a couple of weeks actually after that, then we'd been discussing about what the potential was. And then we were going back to the discussions we were having during summer of 2020. And then, yeah, we just came to the decision that the only way to do this was to do it together and to go all in straight away. Calculated risk, obviously, but all in nevertheless.
Awesome. So you wanted to do it together, but like do what? Like what helped you make the decision?
It came back to the time thing, because at that time, so I'd made the decision already about my current business and then moving into doing property. And then I didn't know what that was going to look like, what it was going to feel like, who it was going to be with or anything, but I just knew that I'd made that decision. And then I think, but obviously I don't know exactly how you were feeling at the time, but you still felt that sort of trapped feeling, didn't you?
Yeah.
At that point. You still felt that trapped feeling. And then we spoke about it and thought, when can we do it, was the question that we were asking ourselves. And within about 30 seconds, we just said now.
It literally was.
In the kitchen, just behind where we sat now,
Yeah.
So, go on.
Yeah, I can't think of the word. What was I going to say? Yeah, I felt like for me, like every day was kind of like on autopilot, that kind of like feeling. And I just, I think I just had enough in the end. And we just wanted to do more. And then, we just made the decision, like John said, to just go all in. So,
Okay. So then, some people sometimes look at like, I know there is a lot out there, by the way, and a post has just gone out that I did saying like, property training or business training, or like, is this training any good? Like personal development, is it invisible? Especially a lot of people from businesses that I used to operate and train and consult in, like they see this world, which is by far what I see as a better route. People actually love what they're doing here and people work together. But like one thing I found, and one of the differences was this, sometimes there's like people who may have done something like property investing you wanted to get into. There's some people who have done that who then start to train, but then there's people whose love and passion is to train, who then also have done things like build businesses and invest and build property portfolios and all the rest of it. Like, what is it that you were taking into consideration, and like, what was your journey like? Because you literally started showing up to like training after training after training, and some people might like slate that and they call it like a seminar junkie or a webinar junkie, like people who just turn up to everything. But you guys were getting results. Like, what was the difference?
I think the difference for me was the application that was happening throughout those events. So I felt like I was learning, but also I was actually doing the things I was learning like instantly, within minutes of learning it. And then I'd done it. So there was, in my mind, the next thing after learning it was like, okay, now I have to put this into practice. But once I ticked both them boxes, then I was thinking, well, I know what to do, and I now know how to do it, and I've actually done it. So what I found was that immediately after I say immediately, within a couple of weeks after each of the events, big milestones happened. So I thought, well, I might as well just continue that process. If I'm attending an event, a big milestone happens, then I attend another event and a big milestone happens, then the best next thing to do is just attend the next event. And that's what was happening. Then another big milestone happened pretty much every single time. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you're right. It was the implementation of it. So,
The speed of just like learning and then doing it, it shocks us. At like, we went from not knowing anything about really, like I've got business experience and we've like, Charlotte's worked for like huge organizations. So in terms of like knowing how things happen, we had an understanding, but from not really doing anything in property to then doing all the things that we now know how to do, just happened so quickly. And it only came from being at the events and doing what we learned very, very quickly. Yeah. Like at the event, basically.
Yeah, very good, very good. And like, is it next week? I think it is next week. And next week we have an implementation week. Yeah. Entire week where we literally just going to implement things to do with the business, things to do with managing portfolio, things to do with raising funds. Those are absolutely key elements of business and property business. But, you know, if you don't run property as a business, you'll struggle. You know, I don't know anyone who's like, there's a lot of people that struggle in this industry because it's just like following a cookie cutter, process, which the cookie cutter process, as the education system proves, is not effective because not everybody is the same. Not everybody comes from the same walk of life, with the same experiences, with the same little voice that either makes them go for it or stops them. So how can a cookie cutter approach work or even stand a little chance? Yeah, it just doesn't work. So this 5 steps, this 6 steps, this, it is a load of garbage. Yeah, are there steps to follow? Yes, they are. But like, as soon as something goes wrong, then those steps are now rendered useless. Because now what are you doing? They didn't have step 5.17 that you're supposed to take, you know, if that type of diversion happens. So anyway, you did all of this. So then what did you get, like, what did that do for you personally? And what has that done in your business? What have you been able to do from there?
So it gave us a lot of confidence, gave us a lot of belief in what we were doing. I think it helped us understand why we were doing it as well. I mean, on that step analogy, I think if it's the right steps, then so basically the steps we've learned means that when it does come to a point where we sort of lose our way, lose path, like, you know, come off the path or whatever you want to call it, then we just go back to step 1 essentially, and it just gets us back on track. So I think if the steps are the correct ones that are being taught and implemented, then it does work. But the most powerful one, I think, for us was the why, like coming back to the biggest possible picture, because that's all that really matters anyway, whether it's property or anything else that we end up doing in the future. But I think the steps that we've learned from the events we've been to real life have been very powerful. But, I've forgotten your initial question.
So how has it helped us personally? Is that what you said?
Personally in your business, like, what are you doing now?
Well, I think definitely spend more time together.
Yeah.
But also more, I think, quality time. We do, I think, do more of what we love, don't we? Because I feel we feel much more kind of in control of our time, and we love to spend time out in nature and fitness and health kind of stuff. And yeah, I think I definitely feel like so much more healthier and kind of like peace of mind, and also like I've grown a lot as well. And just like, I think less fear about things, like, and more kind of self-belief. So I've definitely, I think, grown a lot and feel so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of like actual business numbers, we've in the last year, we've secured properties with an end value of £2.1 million. which is going to produce a net rent of 10k per month. And we've been able to increase our contributions. So now we're actually donating the equivalent of 2,400 meals per year, which feels like it's starting to make us feel fulfilled. Although we know that is really the underlying reason that we're doing it, because every time we get another property, we look at the sort of numbers that's going to produce, and at the bottom of all of those numbers is the number of meals that's going to now provide to vulnerable people, and that really drives us. It really does drive us.
Boom. So what's next?
What's next? Well, actually, this is the start of our new year, financial new year, because we started last April. So yeah, last Friday or last Thursday was New Year's Eve. And we've basically just looked at what we achieved in the last year. And obviously we can't put a percentage on that really, because it was 0 that we started with. So we thought, well, how can we move forward and make plans for the next year? So we've just decided to do what we feel is the equivalent of what we've done in the first year, and just go sort of, very ambitious and 10x everything that we've done this year. We've surrounded ourselves with the right people. We're getting the right level of training, coaching, mentoring. We're networking with also the right people. And again, we just thought, well, whatever we 10x, that's also going to equal the contribution being 10x. So that would be 24,000 meals, if that's sort of just to put it into kind of tangible terms.
Yeah.
But it could be something else. We've got ambitions to set up like a social enterprise or a charitable organization, something along those lines that goes one step further to kind of educate people about quality food and
nutrition and health, and
like rather than just donating food,
Yeah.
it's actually making people self-sufficient. And that can be way more than just being able to cook. That can be able, to earn money, to provide food, to then cook. And so it's never ending really.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And I know you want to get involved in the real life health and well-being resorts with the restaurants and the fitness side of it. Like, just explain your ideas around that, some of the stuff that we talked about.
Yeah. So, I think, like you were saying, we really want to kind of get involved in that, and it feels, I think, really aligned with who we are and where we want to go. And I think we see it, I think as a platform for people to, learn about health and nutrition and wellness and cooking and all of that, but also them becoming part of the contribution themselves, and passing that on to everyone. And that's part of our mission. So everyone to play a part in contributing in some way. This is how we see it, I think.
Yeah, because isn't it strange? Like, cooking is surely something that people do every day, whether they do it for themselves or whether somebody does it for them. So, like, if that happens so often, why are people not understanding more about nutrition? Like, what foods are best to go with what, like, how can your body absorb nutrients? Like, what are the levels of, like, meals, or like the evolution of food? There's much data out there, and there's people who are way ahead of the times, where we are transcending to like a liquid diet. Now most people listen to this and be like, oh, that's crazy, or they think it's like drinking beer or something. But like the stodgy, like cloggy food, processed food, the cloggy chemical stuff, like heavy, that's really difficult for your body to break down, like that is like, people have got to come away from that. Because like even the breads and the pastas and these things like that, and potatoes, which sometimes people would associate with healthy, are not always very healthy. But like, how can people learn about this if without the right kind of case study or experience? Because people struggle. Like people, I know you guys are vegan. Yeah, I'm vegan like 95% maybe. And I might be honest about that. You know, it's just that halloumi. It's naughty.
We struggle with that too.
Yeah, and like people struggle to find the food or like find the recipes to cook, but there's plenty out there. And I tell you something, there are some smashing kind of like herbs and spices and flavorings to go with like amazing natural plant-based food, but it is all the subliminal marketing and you know, what's out there and what's made to look good and all this. I mean, let's face it, guys, look at all the crap food that's out there. They make it look beautiful and it's dirt cheap. Yeah, but what other people don't realize is it's not expensive to go and get good food, or at least half decent food, but the packaging is just like bland see-through with a barcode on it. You know, like chocolate, for example, it's got like reds and blues, and they got that drippy stuff, and the advertising behind it is like someone like, oh yeah, lovely, get home and, you know, put, you know, the ice cream, they like make it like, you know, curl over when they're doing the spoon, like a broccoli, they just like throw it in a pan. You know, like, so what do we expect for like people to be able to do it? Or maybe it's on purpose. Maybe there's someone out there somewhere that don't want people to be healthy because they might take control of their own life. Yeah. So it's interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Yeah. Guys, any questions, please do put them in. Hit the share button if you think this is a hot topic or a topic that people would like to, you know, contribute to. I think this is some of the invisible stuff that people are scared to talk about, but it is coming. So just know that we are the first people bringing it to the market. We're not the first, but like, you know, people bringing it to the market who may be like crossing paths with what we call the mainstream. Yeah. So what we've got on here. So vegan apart from halloumi, some my diet too. It's interesting why it's always that for people. I tell you what it is, it's the naughty halloumi fries, and it's like that spicy sauce that some places give with it. Yeah, and it's the ones that cook it just perfect, so it's just slightly crispy on the outside, and it's like that nice tenderness on the inside. It almost like what's it called? Like it's like a good, sexy cooked tofu, you know, with some nice spices on it. Not that chemical-ridden tofu type of stuff. You know, it tastes like you're eating the rubber off the end of your pencil. Yeah, that's some terrible stuff, that is. But yeah. So what is it that you want to share with the people to give them inspiration, or what moves they would make, like everything that you've gained from and learned from your experience? Because you talked about implementing, but that's really what is give you is then the experience. As people that would have followed me or been to some training or follow real life, we always say like experience is the only teacher. So you've got to experience it. That's why the training is done that way, because what you're going to do, just listen. Are you going to read a book on how to ride a bike and balance? It doesn't work like that. You've got to actually go on the bike and see what it's like. That's what it's like in business. That's what it's like in life. That's what it's like in a relationship. That's what it's like with food. You can't just talk about the food. You've got to start going through the stage of the diet. So all the experience and wisdom that you picked up, like what are your key things that you would like to share to the people?
I think, okay. Yeah, so I think whatever it is, I think that you want to do, then just somehow take the first step, no matter how, even if you don't know exactly how it's going to look, or yeah, you might not know what every step's going to look like, but just do something to move forward. And things, I think they did for us anyway, start to kind of unravel and become more clear. And yeah, just take things one step at a time. And yeah, don't. What am I trying to say?
Just like I would say what I've learned when I look back in the last year, I just learned to, like, whatever it is that I truly believe in, just do it. Yeah. Like, no matter where anything gets in the way or makes me think, actually, am I doing the right thing? Like, if I truly believe I'm doing the right thing, let's just caveat it with that, then just go for it. Like, just go all in, because like I remember all the way back to like playing football when I was younger and stuff, the managers would say like, if you go in 50% in the tackle, you come out getting injured. And that is such a true statement, but actually it's not just going into a football tackle, that's like life. And I think that what's really worked well for us is the feeling of just knowing that we're completely in control because we're all in. Like we're not just sort of like dipping our toe and then just kind of getting back out again when it starts to get a bit rough. We're just all in, basically. And I think that the experience that's given for me is just, it feels like I'm in control. Like not from a controlling point of view, but just like, I know it's my choice. What happens next is my choice, is our choice when we're talking about stuff together. So yeah, I'd say that my main message is just whatever it is that people's passion is, then just go with it. And property isn't necessarily even our passion. It wasn't property that led us to property. It was like the feeling of contribution and stuff that just led us to find real life, which I have to say is like full of people contributing. Like every single person in there contributes to something or someone greater than themselves, and that's so inspiring. But we didn't know that even existed, that type of community, until we just started that financial donation. And then what came out of it was that we've started a property business, and we've started to like increase our net worth and income at the same time, but also increase our contribution. You've got the food page now, your passion's coming through.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something I used to think about like a long time ago, but I would never kind of make any moves in it because I'd be, I don't know, just didn't think it was possible for me to be able to make a difference and make a change. But now I think, just everything's, our passions are coming out and we're acting on them, and feels good. So,
and I think I used to feel like whatever I'm saying isn't adding value.
Yeah.
I think that was what it was, but actually everyone can add value to everyone because everyone knows at least one thing that the other person doesn't. And like that is another thing that I just say as well. Everyone can add value to everyone because everyone we've spoke to and met, new people, existing people, family, friends, everyone's just been like so supportive, but mainly they've been adding value to us.
Yeah, very good. And I think what it comes down to is our mission is to give away for free, better value than what other people charge for. We've been running an event called Property Wealth that like is always different every single time based on what's going on in the market, and always bringing people the latest things. But still, people may have just missed their chance to go for free, saying that. But we have other free resources available to people because we want to give that for free. We just had Get Started in Property, GSIP, which is like Get Started in Property without the BS. Different variants of BS. But what it leads me on to is you guys are truly making big moves and big waves in your life and in your community. You're helping lots of investors get great returns on their money. You're adding value to great properties that some people may have given up on because of the complexities or difficulties to get planning and all that stuff. But all is good, and you're adding lots of value. So that said, first of all, there is one question I've got to ask you, but I do just want to thank you for coming on here. I think there's been a few people watching, and been many more people watch it on either podcast. So guys, whoever is watching, do share this, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. And by the way, just reach out if you want some help. If you need some help, you need to go to a certain direction, just reach out. Real Life Group, Mark Carvey page, just send us a message. We'll figure out what it is that you need. I'll help you figure out what it is that you want, and then set you in the right direction. Maybe it's with us, maybe it's not. Either way, there's no problem there. It's just about let's help as many people as possible move in the direction they want to go. So that being said, guys, you've got to always remember that you can never, ever let people forget that they got to do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
Because that's the only way to discover your true potential.
Yes, there you go. You heard it here. So thank you guys for coming on. Much appreciated.
Thank
And
you
if we
very much.
just one person, that would be enough, but many people will be inspired from your journey and your courage to just, you know, show up and make change. So thank you everyone else for watching. Until next time, like they said, do the right thing for the right reason, because that is the only way you will discover your true potential.